Speaking of your partnership, how does it advance, blockchain intelligence development? How does it concretely work? I know where you're not supposed to, to lay out now in a pod a complexity of a program, but what would you like to share, in a nutshell on this development?
We already have in the institute a center for forensic in crypto transaction because it's like a research project. And when we find ChainArgos, because it's a very big company and very well-known company in this area, we think we can increase our capability and create first center, first academy in blockchain, because academy in cybersecurity are a lot.
Of course.
But in blockchain, I think we are first in Romania. Yeah, why?
It's the new deal.
It's a new deal. Why? Because the blockchain come later. It's a new entry in technology, but it's a new entry and now become very, very important. MiCA create a framework, a legal framework to use this. We can make international invoice in blockchain. We can make this medical personal data in blockchain, like an NFT. We can create a utility NFT using like crowdfunding. In public partnership, we already announced something like this. Yes, not day before. Between a mayor, a public administration, and a company. Are a lot of new tools to use this NFT, and it was natural to become partner with a big company, because for blockchain is very good to have all the data from the past, because we start to using blockchain maybe 10 years ago, using in commercial.
It's like that movie. I know what you did last summer because I can trace it, right?
Yes, and it's very good to have this history and to create like a pattern when you make like not a forensic to match this transaction with a fiat transaction, and for this you made trainers, and programs start to train to trainers, and after we can spread this information for the our principal objective to create a large number of people using this knowledge in state part of entity, not just financial, everywhere.
I would have a question, Jonathan, on crypto assets, because this is one of the new terms. But before that, I'm curious, because of your global experience, of course, you see a lot of what we may call established societies, although in between us, nobody's established any longer in the past 4 or 5 years, looking at the amount of crisis, and a lot of transitional societies. We in Romania were very innovative, I think, because we still have a transitional society mindset. Early adopters, piloting kind of country, agility, entrepreneurial agility. We want more, from life, because we think we can achieve more, right? In terms of adoption of these technologies, what do you see around the world? Faster adoption in transitional countries. Is it easier for you to pilot there? How do you feel the groove?
So there are a wide variety of people adopt technology at different rates for all kinds of reasons. There's cultural differences, economic differences, digital infrastructure differences. I mean, the Wi-Fi is fantastic here. The network works very well. So that's not a problem. There are countries where that is a problem. Is it a problem? Now, you've seen with crypto assets in particular, and with the adoption of technology in general, you see really different rates in different places for reasons that sometimes make sense, sometimes don't make sense. There are places, we're based in Southeast Asia, there are countries there where the network access has gotten tremendously faster in the last decade, and you can tell mobile payments are a much bigger thing than they were before. There are other areas where the problems are not quite so technology focused. There are other types of difficulties. A constant bugbear in this space is interactions with regulatory authorities, whether that's getting approvals, understanding the extent to which you are and aren't regulated, cross-border asset transfer issues, all these kinds of things. That stuff is getting clarified. It's been fascinating to talk to people across the spectrum while we've been in Bucharest these last almost week, seeing how there are people from different areas trying to work together to figure out how they're going to address these problems. You don't get to make the rules for everyone in the world. No one gets to do that.
Of course.
But understanding how you can have a system that's useful, that can connect when it has to other parts of the world, connect things, investigate, prudential regulation, all of these kinds of things. Making sure that stuff is reasonably safe, reasonably taken care of. There is a real effort here to get people's understanding through training, through education, up to a level where these problems can really be tackled reasonably. Oftentimes, and this is not a comment about any particular part of the world, regulators will routinely say, I don't understand this. It's either not okay or it's not my responsibility. And in the long term, no one, of course, thinks that's the right answer. And as with everything in life, education is the solution to that problem. People learn stuff, and then everyone has a sense for what's sort of right and wrong or correct or safe or less safe. You just need to be able to map those concepts onto the technology that's in front of you. And you see technology grow at different rates, sometimes independent of how useful it is for the society around it. And that's, more often a problem when the apparatus around it doesn't understand what's going on, right? Or has decided to pursue in a particular direction, right? So getting everyone organized, coordinated, pointing in the same direction, and exchanging information usefully is critical in helping to bridge that gap to making these things usable, safe, pervasive.
One of the I think the prejudice, and sometimes it's positive prejudice, like a myth. It's like this, that innovation lies particularly in the US and China right now, who are competing with each other, right? Whereas we in Europe, we are the protectors, we're the regulators, and so on, right? And I would say from a Romanian perspective, although we're part in the EU, what was interesting in our experience, for example, with crypto, speaking of European regulations right now, because Romanians had it good, to put in a very simple, soundbite, because they made money out of crypto. I think we were on the good side of the boom and bust moments and so on. But what happens when the bust comes, and what happens when you have safe failures, in the system? Speaking of this crypto assets investigation center, because it's very investigations, right, framed. How does it function? A few words from both of you.
First, it's very good European Union start to create a legal framework and regulate it's a part of crypto asset. And MiCA is the first law can put in the part of European Union, but not in the part of European Union, because as the same idea in United States, in Asia, everybody want to create just some rules to play these games, because are a lot of money. If we look from 2015 until 2022, was more like $50 billion just using IP from Romania and from the neighbors.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And some people want to use this like a new form to invest, because it's a new market.
Diversification.
Yes, it's a new market. It's a risk investment. If you think you buy an NFT or you buy a cryptocurrency like was before, or now you want to buy a crypto asset, and you buy with $100, and you think in 2 months growing to 10,000 euro, it's your feeling. It's like buy a stock, like a stock exchange. You buy a part, and you think in 1 year growing to the moon.
Like Google 20 years ago. I'm feeling lucky, right?
Yes. And this is a reason everybody wants to create these rules to be sure it's not like Wild West.